Hey all, Wild Weather for LiveWeatherBlogs.com, and I'm using my information from my old blog here to kind of support what I'm going to be talking about here as we move into the weekend, into early next week, and things are getting interesting. Needless to say, the coldest air we've seen in most recent Novembers is coming uh, later Saturday into Sunday, especially Sunday afternoon is just going to be incredibly cold for November standards, and we'll get to that in a moment. But back on Wednesday night, we put a blog out on here, liveweatherblogs.com, with me here, and we were looking at the cold air that was building up in Alaska. And, well, that cold air was on its way off to the south and east southeast, and it has evacuated. It has left Alaska as a ridge has poked up in here, and we'll take a look at that in a moment as to why. But the cold air has been dislodged and has begun to move and track south and east, and we'll take a look at that in a moment. From here, the cold air was moving into western Canada, and then from western Canada, it was dumping up into Montana, and that was Wednesday night. That cold air has since plunged its way down into New Mexico and western Texas, setting up for what there could be some wintry weather in New Mexico, and also into Texas with some freezing rain and snow as well. It looks for 1 to 3 inches of snow in New Mexico, maybe up some locally higher amounts, 6 inches, and in the higher elevations of New Mexico, looking for 1 foot snow amounts as the storm ejects out of the southwest. We'll take a look at that in a moment as well. So today, Wednesday, we had the cold air dumping into Montana. Now, when that cold air was moving off to the south and east, the cold air would then fly to the east coast, and then we look for the storm that's coming out of the desert southwest to reform down here in the east western part of the Gulf of Mexico and see where it goes. And yeah, we thought on Wednesday night that we'd be looking at perhaps a storm of some sort coming up the east coast. Of what that was going to give at that point, I was saying, hey, it looks like a swing and a miss, and it comes up the coast, and we get some snow showers and flurries in the back end, and another cold shot. I still like that idea, except there's only one little fly in the ointment. It's the fact that the storm may be getting a little bit closer now to cause some precipitation to come up into the Delaware Valley. With the NAO again being neutral to positive, this storm, whether it's here or whether it's here, locking in the cold air is going to be a problem. And as the storm comes along, it'll drag with it its warm air, especially in the upper levels. While the surface may be 35 to 39 with rain, the upper levels will likely be too warm to even support any snow at the surface. However, there's a caveat to this. As a storm comes up, if it comes up into one piece, then you manufacture the cold air, you bring the cold air from aloft to the surface, causing snow. However, if the storm is kind of flying along and the second piece is trying to catch up to it and doesn't develop until it gets out here over the Gulf of Maine, well, then what you get is probably rain for the Delaware Valley, south and east, along the I-95 corridor, maybe some snow up into this area right here, especially up in New England, where an all-out snowstorm is probably going to happen up this area. Uh, the NAO being positive, storm systems, cold air coming flying out of Canada, storms flying along the southern part of the United States on a subtropical jet. The timing's just not quite there, and what you're going to see is two storms, not one, and the dynamics don't come together, and you get unfortunately a cold, chilly, wet rain with temperatures 35 to 42 in around the Philadelphia area, and the snow doesn't fall until you get back up to Binghamton, Syracuse, and points up into New England. Even western Pennsylvania will see some snow, but this is going to be moving around pretty quickly. Remember, no blocking, storms fly along, nothing to slow it down, and therefore the cold air evacuates and things just don't come together. It is early, folks. It's November, so this is a good sign, though. This cold air coming down the pike here, this is the coldest air I've seen in recent memory in November. The coldest I remember in my lifetime was 1989. I was in 8th grade, and we got 5 to 6 inches of snow around Thanksgiving. And even that day, temperatures were barely cold enough to support snow. It was like 32 to 34. And most of the snow happened at night. We did right before Thanksgiving there. So this storm, we'll see what happens. People who are traveling certainly won't give thanks, because basically right from here points east. There's going to be some major travel delays. This storm will be a windy storm. It'll have plenty of moisture, especially coming up in this general direction. some of the moisture might get cut off here in eastern Pennsylvania, but in any case, if you're flying out of New York, Chicago, Philly, down into Atlanta, this is going to be a storm that's going to cause some delays, so whether it be the wind, the fog, the heavy rain, and maybe even some severe thunderstorms along the Gulf Coast. We'll see about that. The cold air is coming this weekend, and get ready for that. Now, going back to here, this is interesting. This is what you got to be looking for as the winter goes on here. Cold air building up in Alaska, then moving southeast, coming into central and western Alaska. I mean, look at this. 42 degrees below zero the other night up there in eastern Alaska and in the western territories of Canada. That cold air since has come down in the United States. We'll take a look at that in a moment. And then eventually this will fly east. Here you go. The NEO is being neutral to positive. Isn't going to help your snowstorm if you want a snowstorm. But like I said, back here is this storm probably goes through, and then you probably see some snow showers and flurries in the back end. Could there be accumulation? It's possible. Up toward the Poconos, maybe Harrisburg, Lancaster, you get some specklies on the lawn there. We'll see how that goes. It's still early, so I don't want to say, hey, this is definitely going to happen. So you want to check back to liveweatherblogs.com a couple of times here over the next couple of days, especially if you have travel plans and you're leaving early Tuesday night and Wednesday. Let's go to handweather.com. Right now, this is the current situation right now in Alaska. You went from 34 degrees below zero now to 16 below. Cold air has certainly been dislodged. There's a ridge poking up in here, and matter of fact, if you go to the current pressure gradients here, you got one low here and another low here. These two lows are actually from a typhoon that was in the Pacific and has drawn up the warm air aloft. So obviously warmer aloft than it is to surface. But you can see the winds up here are howling. 43 mile per hour wind gust. Another front's trying to come across from Siberia. But you get the idea that the cold air has been dislodged. Go back to those temperatures again. Here we go. Current temperatures up there in Alaska from our friends from handweather.com is 16. Just 36 hours ago, it was 34 degrees below zero. That's quite a warm up. Now, if I go to Canada, the cold air was dumping here. Well, look at the influence of the Pacific here. Look at this. The warm air trying to impinge upon the cold air that was here. 44 degrees below zero on Wednesday night. 9 now. It's just amazing temperature differences. The cold air is now shuffled up here into northern Canada, but if you look closely, yep, here it comes. Our cold shot for Sunday. Here it comes, right down in this area here. And we're going to take a look. If I go to the currents now in the United States, look at this cold air coming in here. 6 degrees below zero now. This cold air charging southeastward. The cold air will envelop the eastern United States here. This warming along here will be gone in just a few more days. So get ready for the cold. Serious cold's coming. And if you don't believe me, take a look at the water vapor map right now. Here's your Tuesday, Wednesday storm. This storm will come across here. Look for snow out here in the southern Rockies of the out here in New Mexico. Freezing rain and sleet and winter precipitation. Warm air trying to override the colder air coming down. Here's your cold shot. All this is indicative of very cold air. It's come flying down here. It won't last long because there's just no blocking. You ever see this cold air is going to come in here like this and then bounce right back out. And unfortunately, as the cold air comes down, the storm will follow, and the storm will follow the cold air. But unfortunately, in between, there'll be just enough warming, unfortunately, to cause probably some rainy situations along I-95 corridor. Maybe some snow in the back end, especially flurries and snow showers as the storm deepens here and leaves. And then we get ready for another cold shot, and you can see that getting ready up here in Alaska. That one will come down probably by Thanksgiving Day to give us windy conditions and even more chances of snow showers and flurries. Stay patient, my friends. This looks a lot better than it did last year at this point, so we'll see what happens. This is liveweatherblogs.com. Wow, weather. Everybody have a great night and stay warm on Sunday. I'll be giving you an update, if not later tonight, maybe tomorrow.